action figures.
Greetings and welcome to the show. I am your host Crazy and you are watching PowetToys. Today we have a clearance aisle classic in the form of Transformers Cybertron CryoScourge. Here he is in package. He is the leader of the Jungle Planet, and a blue repaint of this guy, Transformers Scourge, Cybertron Scourge rather. Now, in the show notes, I am going to include the tech spec bio for all to read, because it's important to note that the story that goes with the toys is actually different from the story told in the Transformers Cybertron animated series. And the difference lies in that in the animated show, Scourge was actually a very honorable character. While very powerful and very harsh at times, at the end of the day, all of his judgments were based on what's most honorable and best for his planet. And in the series, he originally sides with the Decepticons, but over time realizes that the most honorable thing to do is side with the Autobots. Now, for the toys, at some point, Scourge loses power on his planet to some other character, and he basically isolates himself in deep space and is somehow mutated by the experience and becomes cold and angry, or angrier. Now, most new things that come out in the Transformers franchise reference some other point in Transformers canon. And CryoScourge is no different, in this case in his nomenclature. So let's divide up his name, Cryo and Scourge, and see what they actually refer to. And to do that, I want to note that Scourge is not the only Red Dragon Transformer to receive the Blue Dragon repaint in the form of Beast Wars Transmel 2 Megatron and his Target exclusive repaint of Cryotech. And right away you hear the Cryo in Cryotech that CryoScourge references. Now, for the Scourge half of the name, there are several references in Transformers canon to the name Scourge. The first one being the 1986 animated film, The Transformers the movie. Scourge was one of the Decepticons that was reformatted by Unicron to become one of Galvatron's minions. And you can see a likeness, of Scourge right here in the form of the recent Titanium series version of Generation Scourge. Pretty good likeness of the original character, and note the blue and gray color scheme that matches Cryotech and CryoScourge. Purely coincidental, but something to note all the same. Later on, there would be a Beast Wars figure named Scourge. A bit of a shell former, but what are you going to do? Which brings us to Robots in Disguise Scourge. And the story there is basically Megatron imbued part of his spark into a protoform transformer, basically a blank transformer that's in stasis, has no alternate mode. And Megatron tried to activate it, and in doing so, the protoform scanned the surrounding area for some sort of vehicle or mechanical device to mimic for his alternate mode. And in doing so, he scanned an oil tanker. He also scanned Optimus Prime, which resulted in an oil tanker transforming into a likeness of Optimus Prime. Later on in Transformers Armada, the Supercon Prime received the black repaint treatment and was named Nemesis Prime. But in Japan, he was given the name Scourge, once again. So from that point forward, Scourge and Nemesis Prime became essentially interchangeable for black repaints of Prime. And that brings us to Cybertron Scourge, who in Japan was named Flame Convoy. But we are here to talk about CryoScourge. This guy. So, let's open him up and take a look at the figure itself. We're back, and we have CryoScourge here out of the box and in the wild. Now, before I say anything, I will preface this by saying that Cybertron Scourge was my first Cybertron figure, and I liked him a lot. Very simple figure, not a difficult transformation, but just a fun figure. And this is no different with CryoScourge. He is the exact same mold and just has a different color scheme, which I happen to like a little bit more than the original Scourge. So take that how you will. I like some of the yellow highlighting, especially in the robot mode, but I'll point that out once we transform him. But first, I want to talk about his gimmick. And in Transformer Cybertron, these little pieces of plastic are called the Cyberplanet keys. They are kind of a big deal. This bottom piece right here, fits into a port on each figure, and when that is inserted into the port, it will release a different gimmick for each figure. Just to show you an example, here's CryoScourge. His port is right here on his back. So I'm just going to insert it. You really have to push to activate it. It needs to go in all the way. And as you can see, these two heads popped out. The two heads kind of remind me of Hunger from G1, the head to the Abominus, one of the G1 Gestalts, Decepticon. But that is the gimmick for CryoScourge. It's pretty cool. CryoScourge also features electronic sounds and lights. However, once I opened my CryoScourge and started playing with him, I took out the tab to activate the batteries so the sound effects and the lights would activate. They did work, but once I transformed it into robot mode, there was no sounds. And I'm not sure what happened. At first I just thought maybe there's no sound in the robot mode. But that was not the case. I transformed him back and now there's no sound at all, which is kind of irritating because there were some pretty cool sounds. When you inserted the key into his back, it made the G1 transforming sound, which is always very cool to hear on any Transformer. When the key is inserted and you press the button on his back, the head would light up and it would make a laser shooting sound. When the key was not in the port and you hit the button on his back, the head would light up once again and it would make a roaring sound. And that was pretty cool, but now it's not working and I don't know what that says. But I'm sure right after this video I'm going to open them up and figure out what's wrong and fix it, because they're pretty cool sounds. That said, this is still a really cool figure. I didn't even realize that it had sounds until I opened him up. But why don't we move on to the transformation, and I will show you the robot mode. The first thing we do to transform CryoScourge is to remove his tail. The way we do that is we just pull it to one side and it pops right off. No worries. we're going to set the tail aside, and we'll come back to that after we're done transforming the figure. Next, we're going to straighten out the legs and have them point this way. So, just straighten out all the joints so the leg is straight, and we pull out this heel right here, just like that. Gives him a little bit more stability when he's standing up. Then we're going to do the same thing for the other leg. And the heel. Just like that. Okay, next, see right here, we're going to push up. Just like that. Whoops. Okay. I'm going to reorient him. I'm going to pull these heads back that we popped out earlier to show the gimmick. And we can pop those back out later. But next we move the arms down and out. And we take the forearm, rotate it. We're going to pop the wrist up and fold the claw down, and the hand will actually come out. We push that back down, and that arm is complete. So we're just going to do the same thing on the other arm. Fold out, fold down, position the lower arm, up the wrist up, the hand folds out, the wrist back down, and there we go. Next, we take this light blue piece, we're going to pull it out, just like that. It's going to come down and hinge down, and we want to push down on this, fold this in, and just bring it right down, just like that. So the next step is we're going to take this big dragon head and fold it down. Just like that. And right here is the head. I'll zoom in so you can get a better look. Right here is the head. So we're just going to bring that out and twirl it around. And you can see the face right there. I really like the yellow highlighting because it really brings out the detail in the face. But let's just zoom on out so we can get a look at our transformed figure. Pretty neat. Pretty cool. Let's go back to the tail that we set aside right here. Now this tail is going to become a huge axe for CryoScourge. And for that to happen, all we do is take this piece and do that. And this piece folds out. You can have it either straight back or in any position up to there. Completely up to you, totally preferential. You can have it like that so it's a pickaxe, which is all good. And then it just fits in his fist. And you can see the blade of the axe is actually a translucent color to sort of mimic ice. The claws are that same material on both the hands and the feet. But pretty cool. One other thing that I noticed that wasn't documented anywhere or anything that in that manner is that the claws from the dragon mode, when in robot mode, the fist is folded out. The back of the wrist actually forms like another claw. You can see like almost like a thumb here, and you have these claws forming the fingers, which I thought was really neat. So you could just, you know, twist it around, but it's sort of the opposite hand, so it's not quite as cool, but still pretty neat. But like I said, I didn't see that featured anywhere or documented, so, but it still seemed worth pointing out. That's about all the time I have for today for Cybertron CryoScourge. Hope you found this helpful and informative. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at crazy@powet.tv. And remember to check out PowetToys for all of your news on gaming, comics, toys, music, movies, and a whole lot more. Until next time, kids, remember, open your toys. Cybertron CryoScourge is going to bring the pain.